Good evening and welcome to this edition of KTN Friday Briefing. My name is Betty Kialo. Glad that you've taken time to join us tonight as we wind up quite a hectic and busy week. We have comprehensive coverage of what has been happening throughout the day, and later on in the bulletin we'll be speaking to Governor Ahmed Abdullahi on the education crisis in northern Kenya. Very important and critical topic that is. But later on, our guest anchor Nazizi, you know her as the First Lady of hip-hop, will be telling us about her fitness journey and music. She's actually lost 32 kgs in the last couple of weeks. You do not want to miss that conversation. And also, Willis the Word Master will be coming to us also from Kisumu County, and he will be telling us, do we say owl or owl? All that in this show. Quite a packed show we have for you tonight. But let's begin with the highlights. Welcome to the show. Our sign language interpreter is Marisha Owiti. We begin here in Nairobi, where anti-terror police officers began grilling the man they believe masterminded the Mandera attacks. Salim Kitonga was flown to Nairobi earlier this morning amid tight security. KTN's Dennis Onsarigo now reports on what investigators are seeking to find.
30-year-old Salim Abakari Kitonga is believed by police to be the local connection in the twin terror attacks in Mandera last year. The attacks, regarded as the most brazen in recent times, left more than 64 people dead. Anti-terrorism police officers say they have been connecting the dots of intelligence since the twin attacks in November, and the trail led them to Salim Abakari Kitonga. Abubakari has been described as a mastermind of the terror attacks. Salim was flown to Nairobi early morning and is said to appear in court on Monday. Police suspect that he was the man behind the movement of non-Somali recruits into Al-Shabaab operations and was central to the attacks in the country. The attackers, numbering more than 20, first waylaid a passenger service vehicle before killing more than 30 passengers on board. Weeks later, the attackers crossed over from Somalia and butchered quarry workers in a most daring terror attack. Anti-terrorism police sources have told KTN that the soft-spoken Salim, who hails from Vihiga County, has pointed police investigators to other persons of interest. At the National Police Headquarters, the National Police Service was striking a cautious tone.
We are working on all fronts, and we, on purpose, left that out because we want to give you information which we have processed so that you are also able to inform others accordingly.
The arrest of Abakari comes as a relief for the county and national government, as the two seek to assure residents and non-residents of Mandera County that the government is turning the tide on terror. This latest arrest follows that of the nabbing of 6 other suspects last year right here in the city. The National Police Service has remained tight-lipped on the twin arrests. Denson Sarigo, KTN at the National Police Service Headquarters, Nairobi.
Back in the north, where Salim was arrested from, education is still the biggest casualty of the insecurity in the region, and it is getting desperate. In several schools, students who have just completed their high school education have now been turned into teachers. As KTN's Edith Kimani reports, well, some of the volunteer teachers scored an average grade of C- in their KCSE exams.
Class is in session at Sanbulei High School. The Wajir County heat is tough to take, especially afternoon. But Mr. Shukri is unbowed. Never mind that he has only been doing this for a few days. But Yaya Shukri is not a teacher. He is a former student here and is yet to join a tertiary institution.
Nilijisabilia kuja kuwakomboa wanafunzi wangu kwa sababu niliweza kufanya vyema katika kisomo cha Kiswahili na kile cha dini. Hivyo basi nikaamua kuja kuwasaidia mandugu zangu ambao kwa sasa wameachwa bila walimu, na ndio kwa maana wamekusanyika hapa.
And yet this unusual tutor is a school's saving grace. Unqualified, young and eager, Mr. Shukri has been given 3 classes to handle at the same time. Teachers posted here from different parts of the country are yet to resume work, and the headmaster says he is not holding his breath.
The school is running normally, thanks to them and the local teachers. And they have really contained the students in classes, and most of the subjects are being attended to, thanks to these students who are volunteering.
In Mandera County, patience is wearing thin. A few teachers from other counties are back to work, but the shortfall is still dire. So much so that officials from the Kenya National Union of Teachers have threatened to take this drastic measure.
We want to have a union for pastoral community so that our problems are addressed. Mr. Sosyon is really misbehaving. He's misusing our teachers. He's the root cause of the problem, and he should record a statement at the CID headquarters.
But in Nairobi, a defiant group of teachers continues to converge at the Teachers Service Commission headquarters. The specific lot of a reported 1,000 plus teachers say they will not go back to work, and what is more, they are demanding to be transferred from the northeastern region.
TSC has a policy in terms of transferring teachers. You cannot be transferred unless you have finished 5 years.
The TSC has dealt with the problem by threatening the teachers with disciplinary action should they not be at their post by February 2nd. However, as the OMPAS continues, observers warn that inaction by both the teachers and government risks further isolating an already forgotten North and pushing young men like Yaya further into unfamiliar territory.
Wanafunzi, natumai mnakumbuka hadithi yenyewe ilikuwa ikiwahusu akina nani?
Edith Kimani, KTN.
So just what are the options in this crisis facing the education sector? Well, according to the Kenya National Association of Parents, Musau Ndunda, the government should not victimize the teachers, but instead transfer and replace them.
I wish TSC can also now, the teachers who are crying outside there every day, let them have mercy on these people and tell them, come back. I want to send another team there. Even a while, wakapata experience. So that we don't victimize. Please, can you save these teachers who are about to be interdicted for not reporting? Instead of people criticizing, can you circulate? If a police officer can work all the way in Mandera, can work, what about teaching? Should you teach in your village? The answer is no. Please, we want that.
Right, and just to continue this discussion a bit, I told you earlier that we have Governor Ahmed Abdullahi Wajir, Governor, in studio. Welcome and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start with that big question that we're asking. Do you think the teachers who have refused to go back should be fired?
Well, I think at some point a judgment call has to be made and decisions have to be taken, because one way or the other, the kids have to be taught. So I think that question is best answered by TSC. But I do think that it can only go on for so long. Mm-hmm. And government has already given an ultimatum to the effect that by Monday they ought to be there. Mm-hmm. And we do hope that they will be there.
So if they're not there on Monday, because the teachers are quite adamant that they're not going back, what happens then?
I think we've got to, be honest with each other, mm-hmm. and look at the situation on the ground. Yes, there were incidents that happened. Yes, they were very bizarre, like we saw the last two in Mandera. Yes, security is a concern, not only in the region, but in the whole country. But government has made interventions since, and a lot of patrols are happening now. A lot of effort has been put. As we speak, there are 35 private schools in Wajir town today, mm-hmm. with over 250 non-local teachers. Mm-hmm. These are not TSC employed teachers. They've been employed by the private schools. Mm-hmm. And those teachers are at work. We have 131 medical healthcare workers, of which only 23 have not reported so far. All the rest have reported. Mm-hmm. We have thousands in the private sector, non-locals, working in Wajir town. Plumbers, carpenters, mirror traders, you name it. And they're all working. Mm-hmm. So I think we will, yes, I do understand that, there could have been a panic attack as a result of what happened, and some people could genuinely have felt, very, very unsafe. Mm-hmm. But matter of fact is, Wajir is part of Kenya, Mandera is part of Kenya, Garissa is part of Kenya, and there's already a lot of integration in those particular counties, in those particular towns. And there are a lot of Kenyans from elsewhere that are working there.
Let's talk
we
about
have engineers, we have artisans rather, we have technicians, you name them.
Let's
How
talk about
come it's not unsafe for those ones, but it's only unsafe for teachers?
Do you think that you've mentioned that there are 250 teachers who've been employed by private schools?
Yes.
Who are already in school teaching?
Yes,
Is it
yes.
something that the private schools have done, maybe measures they've taken to ensure that, you know, they are safe?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Whatever interventions we've made have been made by government, county government and national government working together. The security agencies have done their bit. There are patrols now at night. The county government has put lots of lighting in the town. And in the case of Wajir, of some odd 400 and so settlements, the only place where attacks have been happening is in Wajir town. The last one that happened was on 22nd of December, where one KPR, who is a local, was killed. So there is nothing that those private schools have done that we have not done for the public schools.
Okay.
I think it's just a case of, you know, some of the teachers being opportunistic here and taking advantage of these bad incidents that have happened and trying to use that to transfer out of the region. The region is a hardship area, even without those security challenges. But fact of the matter is a lot of these teachers were employed by the board of governors of those particular schools for those schools, because TSC was giving the slots to the BOGs of the schools. So it can't be that at the earliest opportunity you want to go back to your home.
Well, apart from insecurity, there have been other concerns. Teachers have, you know, aired some concerns which actually border on cultural matters.
Right.
Some female teachers have come out to say that not only is insecurity a big problem, but they've also been having cases of sexual harassment, you know, especially at night, and all these other issues. Do you know about these issues?
I have seen the grievances. We have discussed this in a couple of meetings with all stakeholders, including TSC, the Labour Ministry, Interior Ministry, and those things cannot be proved. Whatever you're saying is crime, and there is a process of reporting crime. I was watching TV the other night, and one of the teachers who was saying actually that his house has been marked by Al-Shabaab. Is a teacher in a place called Hadado, which is close to 400 kilometers from the border, where Al-Shabaab is virtually non-existent. It's not one of those places where you would even expect, it's at risk of Al-Shabaab and that kind of thing. So I think there is, we need to scratch below the surface. We need to be a bit more in-depth in our analysis. We need to look at these things. Some of the allegations being made that they can't teach certain subjects, those things. I schooled in Wajir for my primary education in the early 80s. Even at that time, when we were much less developed, when the road situation was worse, when the water situation was worse, more than half of the teachers were non-locals. The teachers who taught us and took us through the system were non-locals. The place is much better today than it was in the early 80s. So I think those are unfounded. And if there are incidents, specific incidents of crime, then they ought to have been taken through the due process of law. All right. But I think a lot of it is fabrications.
Okay, we are running out of time, but then finally, at the end of the day, it's the children, the young children who we've just seen in that story, who are suffering. Is there a plan B, and what is the end to this? As the governor of one of the places that is
we
affected?
appeal to our teachers to be honest in this. There are more than 5,000 Kenyan teachers today teaching in Somalia. In Somalia, in the heartland of Al-Shabaab territory, you'll find Kenyan teachers working there. In Mogadishu, where bombs go off every day, in Kismayu, in places as remote as Garowe and Bwale, in the heartland of Somalia, there are Kenyan teachers. There are Kenyan hotel managers. A lot of the hotel workers are Kenyans. So I think it's a question of teachers trying to transfer out of a hardship area. This is one country. Probably today you'll find Kenyans working in Iraq.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Where there's ISIS and all sort of insecurity. I think if those teachers refuse to go back, then decisions have to be taken by TSC. Okay. There are a lot of unemployed teachers. They should be put on the payroll, and those ones will take up the jobs.
All right.
I am sure if TSC was to offer jobs to those teaching in private schools today in Wajir town, they will jump at it and take it.
All right. Yeah. Governor, thank you very much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you very much.
All right. Governor Ahmed Abdullahi there talking about the education crisis in northern Kenya. And just a reminder of the big question that we're asking you tonight. We're asking, should the teachers who have refused to go back to work in northern Kenya be fired? Should the teachers who have refused to go back to work in northern Kenya be fired? The number, of course, is 22155. The hashtag on Twitter is Friday Briefing, or you can tweet me at Betty Kyalo. Well, now to another thorny issue in the sector, the ongoing confusion over this year's Form 1 selection. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi now says there is no problem with the guidelines used to select candidates joining national secondary schools. Instead, Kaimenyi blames the crisis on what he calls ambitious pupils and failure by the teachers and parents to offer intelligent advice to candidates. Here's KTN's Patrick Amimo with the details.
14-year-old Whitney Nyachoti is among hundreds of KCPE 2014 candidates saddened by the outcome of the Form 1 selection process. She was second at the best girl in Lubinu Primary School's class of 2014, having scored 412 marks out of a possible 500. But she will not be joining any of the national schools she chose.
Lakini niliitwa county school, the Sacred Girls Mkomo. Kwa shule yetu kuna mwenye alipata alama 402 na niliitwa kwa national school Moi Girls Eldoret. Nye pia mimi nilichagua lakini sikuweza kuitwa.
And the Kenya National Parents Association is enraged.
Bright children have missed opportunities of joining Form 1.
But the government's response is perhaps not what Whitney and many other candidates like her were hoping for. Kaimenyi says that though the number of national schools has been increased to 103, school heads and parents fail to give candidates what he calls good advice on school choices.
Some of our peoples really, through maybe being very ambitious or not being very well advised, the way they choose or make choices is too ambitious. And I'll explain. You choose Alliance Boy. If you're a boy, you choose Alliance High School. The next school is Mango. The other school is Narok School. And in all these schools, the number of applicants sometimes is well above 120,000. 120,000. And how many spaces are there? You tell me. So you find that in the first choice, they will not be taken. Second choice, they will not be taken. Third choice, they will not be taken. Now, what do you do about that? These children have to be placed someone. That's exactly what you have done.
Kaimenyi says, unlike in 2013, where 4 slots were reserved in national schools for each district's top pupils, the numbers were increased to 6 last year, 3 boys and 3 girls from each district, to boost national cohesion and affirmative action.
You can be a top boy or girl in a district with 200 points. Is that possible? Is that possible? Yeah. Correct. So that child with those points will go to Alliance. And with no regrets about that.
The Kenya Private Schools Association has threatened to move to court next week to compel the government to make public the selection criteria. The association also wants the ministry to table the district quota to guide in the selection of schools.
We have circulated the guidelines of selection process to key parties.
The Parents Association and the ministry may have different opinion on resolving bright pupils' clamor for joining top-performing national schools.
Why should we confine Alliance to the admission to the bed capacity? Why don't you open it up? Kazi yako ingia someshwa, mahali ya kulala shauri yenu. That is good. So that if my child wants to go to Alliance, let him go. Lakini mambo ya malazi sio mambo yetu. Hiyo wewe tafuta namna.
To cure that problem, it's good to advise that pupils choose schools in a very intelligent manner. You choose a national school, extra county school, and a district school. And district school is a day school. So you increase your chances of being taken somewhere where you like.
But on a brighter note, the ministry says KCPE and KCSE candidates in public schools will not pay examination and registration fees since the government has already remitted some 2.4 billion shillings to the Examinations Council. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
To some good news now. Well, at least for business people in Narok, calm has finally returned to the streets of that town following days of mayhem that cost at least 2 lives and forced shops to close. But some players in the tourism sector have already paid a hefty price, as KTN's Timothy Otieno now reports.
Running battles between law enforcement officers and residents of Narok town have defined Narok for most of the week. Images of burnt tires and barricaded roads showing a town that was crippled by angry protests. But now it's a different scene. Residents going about their business like nothing ever happened here. But the relative calm may have come a bit too late for a county that hosts one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The demos caused a major traffic snarl-up, and hoteliers say it has been a costly affair.
We've been trying to find out what's going on. We've just been stuck here in the petrol station. It's been about an hour now, I think.
Well, we've been waiting for about 2 hours now.
Yeah, so we shall see.
It was a big inconvenience to guests, the ones who are leaving and the ones who are coming into the Mara, because I had guests who were stuck on the road for more than 6 hours. Getting to Narok at 11 in the morning, but they were checking in late in the evening by 7 p.m.
The River Ewasonyiro footbridge was impassable, forcing residents to wade through the waters. The riots that started on Monday resulted in the arrest of 5 politicians, among them Narok Senator Stephen Olentutu. They were, however, released on bond, and now locals want them to come to the county and preach peace and unity so that business can once again pick up. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
To Addis Ababa now, where members of the Kenyan delegation are lobbying African leaders to ratify a key treaty that seeks to give the African Court power to try international crimes. This is part of Kenya's wider agenda to have the ICC case against Deputy President William Ruto dropped. KTN's associate editor, Noah Otieno, is reporting tonight from Ethiopian capital.
Now, the African heads of state and government are currently in the plenary meeting of the 24th African Union Summit here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And that meeting will go on well into the afternoon of Saturday. But the real lobbying by the Kenyan delegation is going on the sidelines of the main plenary meeting. And by Saturday afternoon, it will be evident whether the Kenyan delegation has succeeded or failed in their main agenda concerning the International Criminal Court and the African Court of Justice and Human and People's Rights. But even though getting the support of the African leaders on the matter of the ICC case against Ruto is proving to be an uphill task, there is something good going for Kenya right at this summit. For one, the openly anti-West president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, has been elected today as the new African Union chairperson. So Kenya has at least one ally inside the AU who will not only help to lobby the other African countries, but will also be in a position to push for negotiations at the level of the United Nations and other regional bodies.
Friends we shall have, yes, but imperialists and colonialists no more.
The outgoing chairperson, Abdulaziz Ould of Mauritania, sent out feelers to the rest of African countries in the morning about rejecting the ICC's jurisdiction in the African continent. And now, Kenya has till Saturday afternoon to squeeze their push into the main AU summit agenda and get the necessary support. There is also an unexpected turn of events at the United Nations. The current chairman of the 69th UN General Assembly announced that he will push for reforms at the United Nations Security Council.
Council is the most undemocratic institution we have in the entire architecture of the United Nations. And needs to be revised to take into account current global realities.
One of the issues currently pushing the Kenyan agenda to the back burner include the Ebola crisis currently bedeviling countries in West Africa. And both the United Nations and the African Union Commission want the focus to remain on getting these countries Ebola-free. The summit ends Saturday evening, and the resolutions will most likely carry with them the fate of Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto. Noah Otieno, KTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Moses Kajwang has been rushed to hospital after he sustained head injuries during a scuffle in Olale, Homa Bay County. The Orange Democratic Movement's candidate for the Homa Bay senatorial by-election was attending a funeral in his opponent's stronghold. According to eyewitness, Moses Kajwang got up to speak and was hit in the head with a stone by a spectator when he reportedly spoke ill of Philip Okundi, who is vying for the same seat under the Mandera Democratic Party. News Justin says Kajwang has left hospital and is recuperating.
Mostly not for me. I feel like inspired for other people because I know there's a lot of people who don't believe that they can do it. So I'm happy because I know, like just from yesterday, I have to thank everybody who followed my progress picture, sent me so much motivation. I know that I can help them do the same thing, you know? And that makes me even more happier because even for my music and even for my career, it's all about inspiring people to do
to become better.
Yeah, and to do things they think they could never do. So I'm really happy when I read it like online, everybody's like, she did it.
Supporting.
And some people were saying, it's not her.
Yeah.
Those abs are Photoshopped. And I made Betty look at my abs.
Actually, I looked and I verified they are actually real abs and her stomach is completely flat. You're giving me a run for my stomach, so to speak.
Yeah, we're going to train. I'm open to helping anybody on their fitness journey.
How can they contact you?
I have a fitness page. It's called Fitness with Naz on Instagram and on Facebook, Fitness with Naz. We have a phone number over there. I have someone who's you can call and talk to us and we can see how we can help you. My trainer is really happy and excited to help everybody as well. So big up to him.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see if we'll get more time to have you give us some more tips. But for now, I want you to, to walk in my shoes,
It's so hard to walk in your shoes.
No, it's not. Trust me. So this is a story. So you're our guest anchor. So this,
which is the story?
So this is it. The prisoner's escape. Yeah, it's got an interesting one. So there you have it on the auto cue. That's what we call an auto cue. Meanwhile,
okay.
Yeah, dear sister,
I'm getting schooled right now.
Okay, so fine. So you introduce that story first. Introduce yourself, like how we do it.
Which is how?
No, I mean, hey, you watch news, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What's the first thing we say when you're on air?
Hi, this is Nazizi.
Okay, we say good evening, but even hi we'll do for today.
Oh, what's up?
Okay. Oh, what's up? Whichever is good for you, just say it. So introduce yourself and then, read the story and introduce that story for us. All the best.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nazizi. Have a story for you. So, police in Narok, Kisumu County have launched a manhunt for 14 remandees who staged a daring escape earlier today. The inmates are believed to have overpowered an officer who was staying guard at the Ahero police station.
Abandoned clothes, a shoe here and there, evidence of the struggle that transpired as 14 remandees broke out from their Ahero police cells. Police here are still in shock as they try to piece up the puzzle of the circumstances under which the inmates escaped.
They escaped around 6 a.m. in the morning when the officers were doing their housekeeping.
Only one officer was manning the facility at the time, presenting an opportunity which the 14 seized without hesitation.
Some few hardcore criminals who were in the cells took advantage and forced the door and overpowered the officer who was on duty.
The county commandant Nelson Jiri believes that the escape was not spontaneous.
It was organized, I think, because most of them were hardcore criminals from Kodiaga prison who were remanded here. They had taken advantage, maybe they observed the behavior of the officer for some time, so they just ambushed the officer by pushing the door when the officer was trying to open for them to hand over a bucket of water for them to clean the cells.
Police in Kisumu are now in pursuit of the remandees who are still at large, and they say it is only a matter of time before the escapees are behind bars again.
We are right on them because most of them we have their particulars, they are known. These are people who have appeared before court and they have a court file with them.
The remandees are suspected to be hardcore criminals facing different charges, including robbery with violence and murder. Fatma Poli, KTN.
Right, so you've performed quite well. I'll actually give you. I'll give you an 8 out of 10.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
because
you.
the only thing is, you said hi.
I said hi.
You said hi, but it's still fine.
That's me.
All right, so we want to know how Nazizi fared, and of course, any other comments you have and feedback about her weight loss and her journey. If you want to contact her, the hashtag is Friday Briefing, or you can tweet me at Betty Kialo or at Nazizi Hirji, right?
Yes.
All right. So, what do you want to do next?
Well, we're moving on to business, and we're going to be doing it with Abi Agina.
Mumia's Sugar Company has announced its restructuring operations and changes in management as they try to return the country's largest sugar company back to profitability. The development comes even as the Ministry of Agriculture pumped in 500 million shillings to rescue the debt-ridden miller. The fate of troubled sugar miller Mumias is looking somewhat promising after the board of directors issued stern directives aimed at revamping the highly indebted company.
And my board has been looking at how to restructure the company to respond much more positively to the challenges.
The company has in recent months been entangled in debt claims from farmers who are demanding to be paid about 2 billion shillings. According to the board's chairman, restructuring the top management is one of the options they have resorted to in a bid to salvage the firm's dwindling fortunes.
States that a new structure at the top has been worked out and has been advertised so that it be filled competitively by Kenyan men and women able and willing to drive the company to the new levels.
The miller currently controls well over 30% of the domestic sugar market, which the Ministry of Agriculture is keen on maintaining.
We have reinstituted the internal audit department, which is now not just internal audit, but risk and compliance, because it's not just risk, but the fact that we must also comply with the laws and regulations governing the industry.
The firm has been rocked by operational challenges that even saw the company's managing director suspended on grounds of allegedly placing the company in unfavorable trading arrangements. The company is banking on recruiting a fresh team of top managers who will be tasked in driving the business back to sound profitability. For consumers, it will be of great importance since a collapse of the miller could spark major price hikes for sugar in the country. Well, moving on, Simba Colt Motors, the Kenyan reseller of BMW cars and Mitsubishi trucks, has unveiled its Renault car franchise that it took from DT Dobby. The change in ownership of DT Dobby last year has seen it relinquish dealership rights for Renault and Nissan brands in the Kenyan market. Simba, which has just concluded a joint venture deal with its new Portuguese partner Salvador Gaetano Group, will start selling Renault saloon cars in partnership under the new brand name Simba Gaetano Formula. Philip Kitani has more.
Competition in the car industry is set to stiffen following a business reorganization of one of the largest car manufacturers in the world.
We are bringing in a unit in the next few months, which we are hoping will be at the entry level. I cannot discuss any figures at the moment, but it will be a direct competition to the Mitumba market.
The deal to have Simba Colt Motors have distribution rights of the Renault brand signal a growing market for the Renault brand. The Renault brand was lost by DT Dobby after it was acquired together with CICA Motors in December 2012 by Toyota as part of a 274 billion shilling Pan-African deal involving their parents' firm, CIFAO.
Main aim first was to launch the brand in Kenya and in Nairobi in particular with our showroom facility, which we have done now with the next step. But as we
Simba has been on an acquisition spree. They acquired the BMW franchise from Mashariki Motors in 2008 and the Mahindra dealership from the Hector Group of companies in 2012. It has also signaled an agreement to sell Geely cars in the local market with the Renault dealership, raising its vehicle brands to 6.
A fully stocked spares warehouse, which is stocking genuine Renault parts, and we also have a fully fledged workshop with Renault trained technicians.
So far, Simba Gaetano Formula, which is the new dealership of Renault, have already invested $1 million in the country and have unveiled 3 passenger car models, Renault Fluence, Renault Duster and Renault Clios.
The plan for expansion of models to be offered in Kenya is more than about 4 or 5 more coming in the next 2 years.
The deal will give Simba a presence in the competitive passenger vehicle market dominated by Toyota Kenya. The existing dealership network have helped local firms win the joint ventures with the foreign partners who would have otherwise have to start operation from scratch. Philip Keitan, KTN Business.
Many thanks there, Philip. And now to some good news about women in technology. Women running businesses got a boost after global technology solutions firm Intel announced its partnership with She Leads Africa, a Pan-African technology startup, to train women on various ICT skills to efficiently manage and grow their companies. Speaking during a workshop held in Nairobi, She Leads Africa co-founder Afua Osei noted that a number of women running businesses did not have the requisite technology solutions, which our firm in conjunction with Intel will be keen on tailor-making for the market. The partnership will also see women get to be trained on what to look for when sourcing for softwares, and more importantly, what are the market prices.
So I think it's a really interesting time for all of these things, for technology in Kenya, for the entrepreneurship space, and for women in particular. I think that there's been probably several years of building up to a time where not only is technology and the infrastructure a lot better to enable businesses to start in a much cheaper, faster way, but you also have a lot of support from the different hubs, one of which we're in right now, Nairobi Garage, that gives people a chance to share and meet with other people, such as this event, and just that access to other like-minded people is really helpful when the industry is starting to get going.
We decided to host this workshop because we saw a lot of young women with great tech ideas, but they didn't really know how to turn them into businesses. And we want to make sure that young women are able to take advantage of the new technical ecosystem and turn them into real businesses and able to get real revenue. So we wanted to host this session that shows them turning their ideas into real businesses, having a pilot, talking to your customers, and hopefully kind of growing and being a big success.
Well, let's now cross over for a financial report just to see how your money traded at the stock market.
MRH. Mayra.
Marriage. Marriage.
Mari.
Mayra.
Maila.
Mair.
Mair.
Marir.
Marir.
Marir. Mal. Mal. Viva sasa. Mer. Mer. Mair. 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 I don't know. Mair. Mil. Mer. Mer. Mea.
Willis, you've had the Mir-Mar, so many pronunciations there. I could crack my rib. Willis, what do we call that word?
Well, we don't say mar, mir, and all the other mispronunciations. The correct or acceptable pronunciation of this word, Betty, is ma. Ma. We don't say the other pronunciations that many people are fond of. We say ma. And it reminds me about the word martyrs. Ugandan martyrs, not Matthias. So, ma, martyrs.
Okay,
yes.
ma and martyrs. Got it, Willis.
An action-packed and sporty day indeed. It has been a very good evening, and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahesi. Starting on a soccer gear. Football Kenya Federation has made it official that the 2015 Top Flight League will be under their custodian. FKF went ahead to ratify the new league changes, including the expansion to 18 teams at the special general meeting in Friday in Kakamega. The federation also endorsed the decision to break ranks with the Kenya Premier League Limited, an issue that leaves many soccer lovers in the country in utter confusion. After push and shove for some time now between Football Kenya Federation and the Kenya Premier League Limited, Football Kenya Federation delegates have endorsed the decision to break ranks with the Kenya Premier League Limited in an SGM held on Friday. Football Kenya Federation has reaffirmed its decision of taking over the running of the Kenya Top Soccer League, which comprises of 18 teams.
That we shall have only one league, one Premier League called FKF Premier League, which is going to be registered and run by the clubs.
The league will be scheduled to kick off on 14th February 2015 on Valentine's Day.
The differences regarding the structure and the composition of the top flight league in the country has resulted for Football Kenya Federation to declare that they no longer recognize Kenya Premier League Limited.
We don't recognize KPL now, so I don't want to attack KPL. KPL is not a member.
We are the sole organization mandated to run football in this country, and we all support the idea to run Football Kenya Federation Premier League 2015.
KPL had earlier stated that they remain mandated to run the Kenya Premier League that should kick off on 21st February, something that FKF chairman Sam Nyamoya has said won't be allowed to happen.
But so far, we shall run only one Premier League. The Federation will not allow any other league, the top league other than FKF Premier League.
With the FKF KPL differences tainting Kenyan soccer even further, a lot of soccer enthusiasts in the country are eager waiting to see FIFA crack their whip.
Anti-Doping Agency Kenya, China Anti-Doping Chinada, Norwegian Anti-Doping Agency, together with the Kenya Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture, have signed a one-year agreement that will see these bodies aid Kenya fight the doping menace. The agreement was reached at the end of a three-day workshop that came to a close on Friday morning, with the promise to shape Kenya's tainted sporting image and get it back to its original reputable state. Kenya, in conjunction with China and Norway, have agreed to work together to facilitate Anti-Doping Kenya ADAC with its efforts to clean the increasing doping nightmare in the country. Speaking during the event, Sports Cabinet Secretary promised to support the newly formed ADAC with $50,000 to facilitate its mandate. To matters rugby now. The Kenya Cup regular season is winding down thick and fast, with plenty of fights at the opposite ends of the table. The fight for the 4 semi-final slots intensifies this weekend, with log leaders Nakuru RFC having a tight match against Homeboys. With 7 matches on the line, Game Week 10 is expected to be action-packed. It has been 9 weeks of action in the current 2014-2015 Kenya Cup season, and as matters stand, the log leading Packers put in stellar performances and remain on course to make it for the playoffs. With 44 points, defending champions Top Fry Nakuru lead the Kenya Cup standings, having accumulated an impressive 8 bonus points. Last season's runners-up KCB are placed second on the log, 1 point shy the leaders. Pan-Africa Strathmore Leos and an impressive Cabras Sugar follows the leaders with 40 points and 31 points respectively. Mamba RFC is placed 5th and remain geared to improve their chances of returning to the playoffs for the first time since the 2012-2013 season. The rugby action goes a notch higher this weekend, with defending champions Wanyore having a 2 p.m. tie against Homeboys RFC at the Impala grounds. KCB will be up against 8th place Kenya Harlequins at the RFA grounds, the same venue that will host Total Nondis against Mombasa Sports Club. Kulabu will play Cabras Sugar, while Impala will bully off against an out-of-form Mean Machine. And in a varsity derby, an impressive Strathmore Leos will be up against Catholic Monks, while Western Bulls will tackle Black Blood. With the title chase intensifying, an entertaining and rib-cracking Match Day 10 is in the offing.
Before we leave, we still have the lovely Nazizi. We're getting so much feedback from you. Thank you very much. Of course, congratulating her on her fitness and her weight loss and everything that, about her. How are you feeling getting all this support? You've gotten so many people talking about this.
It's a blessing. I'm really happy. Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. And congratulations on your weight loss too.
Oh, thank you.
I've been following you and what you're doing, and you're doing really good.
We should start helping guys as a unit.
Yes, we should. We should. Everything is possible. Yeah.
All right. So before we leave, maybe you can quickly mention about your new song, Over You.
Yeah, so I've also recently made my comeback into the music industry, and I've just released a new dancehall song. It's called Over You. You can watch it on YouTube. You can, let me know what you think about it. Okay. And yeah, it's a dancehall song produced by Sapi for Love Child Records. I'm recording with Waire now at Waire Studio.
Nice.
And yeah, big shout out to also Ibrahim Alex, who's also my other producer.
All right.
Everybody's got me going, yeah.
So now, is there a video?
There's a video.
Will you be dancing and everything,
The funniest thing about the video, we were supposed to shoot it with me in a crop top, and then those shots got lost.
So is it like...
I was happy. The video is out though, but you won't see me like all...
okay.
But maybe soon,
Soon, we should see you in some...
And on my Instagram, you'll be seeing my abs.
Okay. Oh,
after 2-pack is 4-pack, then 6-pack coming soon.
If you want to see her 6-pack. No, right now it's at a 4-pack.
It's at a 4-pack.
2-pack going to 4. All right. Thank you so much for watching Friday Briefing. All your responses, we really do appreciate them. My name is Betty Kialo, and you are?
Nazizi Hirji.
All right. See you next week. God bless.